Good morning, you beautiful people. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Today, welcome back to another episode of Building the Perfect Call of Duty, a series in which I try to create the perfect Call of Duty piece by piece. This episode, we are going to talk about the maps. When it comes to individual maps, there are three components that I'm going to take a look at, and that is size, complexity, and cover. However, when looking at building the perfect Call of Duty, we also have to take into consideration the variety of maps. My goal for these maps will be to encourage the players who are quick on their feet, as well as have a tactical strategy for these maps, as well as keeping the kind of crazy fun maps like Shipment in there and Nuketown as well. Starting things off, let's talk about the size of the maps. Now, if I were to ask you, building the perfect Call of Duty, what size maps do you want? I guarantee you the majority of people would say we want small maps. However, the majority of people do not actually want small maps. What they're actually asking for is a map with close quarter engagements that feels small, that feels pretty tight. What I'm saying is the actual physical play space of a map is pretty non-important. It's not that important. Now, of course, there is maps that can be too big, like Derail. But when you think about those maps that people generally don't like, you do think about Derail, you think about Turbine, you think about Stonehaven and Whiteout. The one thing that all of these maps have in common is they're big, yes. However, their sightlines are what's actually big. The engagements you get into are big. The reason I don't like Stonehaven is not because it's a physically big map. The reason I don't like Stonehaven is because my assault rifle doesn't have a lot of range there. Now, that's a kind of preference that we as a community have come to in recent years because we love the high fast-paced action of those close quarter engagements with the submachine guns, and yes, even with the assault rifles. So what I'm trying to avoid here is I don't want us to have small maps just because we like close quarter engagements, because when we do that, we get the maps of Black Ops 2 and Advanced Warfare, which in my opinion do not encourage tactical play or people who are quick on their feet. Somebody who is quick on their feet in Advanced Warfare will not have a place to flank. They will not have a tactical advantage. They are more playing in an arena style map, similar to what Halo has, and that doesn't work for Call of Duty. Call of Duty is a strategic game, and strategy requires map knowledge, spawn knowledge, and flanking. And so if you were to ask me what the perfect Call of Duty map was, honestly, I would say a map from either Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3, or Call of Duty Ghosts. Specifically, you guys know I love Departed. Departed is a fantastic map. I love it. I think it's got the perfect mix of long sniper sight lines. I think it has some good assault rifle play, and you can kind of shotgun if you really try. And it's not so much a shotgun map, but when we look at, let's say, Invasion, that is a map that is physically really big. However, you can pretty much use any weapon you want on that map. You can shotgun and weave in between the buildings. That's a viable technique. You can use your sniper rifle all the way across the map. The physical play space of the map is huge, but the interactions are very much varied, and that's the perfect map. In addition to that, that bigger map with a lot of close quarter combat situations or just varied situations, it creates a great pace because the player now has a tactical advantage. Okay, I can decide I'm going to jump right onto the B domination flag and I'm gonna, be all crazy and hectic and have a super fast-paced game and get a super amount of kills, or I'm going to stick towards the edges of the map where there's a couple of different flank routes, there's a couple different ways I can go, and I can kind of slow down, kind of work up my kill streaks, and get a good feel of the map flow. This is something High Rise did as well. You can control your own pace on a good Call of Duty map, which is something that a large Call of Duty map like Stonehaven doesn't do effectively. It's always going to be slow paced, no matter how fast you try to run. Free fall, you know, when you look at any of the maps like Terrace from Advanced Warfare, it's always going to be fast paced because you have no other choice. In a good Call of Duty map, you get to control your own pace. I won't touch on this too much because I think we have all experienced this. The spawns on a small map will always be so much worse than the spawns are on a large map. Now let's get on two different types of maps, the 3-lane map versus the complex map. Now if you guys know me, you will know donuts, you love the complex maps. That is your bread and butter. That is what you are after in Call of Duty. Yes, however, I do not believe that the 3-lane map will always be a bad 3-lane map. I feel like there is a great style to both of these maps. There's a both competitive advantage to both of these maps, so I feel that we need to have a good variety of both of these types of maps, 3-lane and complex. When you look at a 3-lane map, there is an inherent initial kind of instinctual thought process when you spawn in. When you spawn in on a 3-lane map, you kind of already have an understanding of where the enemy team is. They are on the opposite side of you. Think about whenever you spawned in Black Ops 1 in Radiation or in Cracked. You always kind of had a general idea where the enemies are going to be. This put less emphasis on spawn knowledge in a more general sense and more emphasis on which route you are going to take and how you are going to take that. This is something that I think Black Ops 1 did absolutely beautifully with their maps. I went back and I played it for the series, and Cracked is such a great map. I love it a lot more than I did when I first played Black Ops 1. It's a 3-lane map, but there's a lot of different complex ways to go about it. It's not crazy like, you know, somebody threw up on the page and just made a map out of it. It's structured, there's multiple routes in and out, there's buildings here and there, and it's a very, very good strategical map to play, and I really, really like it. Same thing with Pharaoh. You guys have heard me say this a lot. When you are running around in Pharaoh and you spawn on the outside and you're pushing inside, the spawns may not necessarily flip 100%, they may rotate a little bit, but you still get that 3-lane map. You still get a chance to, you know, duck out of cover, you need to get out of there, you need to go in. You can control your own pace in a 3-lane map when it's done well. Whereas if you take a 3-lane map from, say, Black Ops 2, like Slums is a great example of this, as well as Hijacked. There is little to none strategy about that map. There is no skill involved, or there is no strategic advantage that anybody can use other than a head glitch. You know, there is literally only 3 lanes in that map. When you push up on the left side of A, they're continuing to spawn on A, and then you will either be overwhelmed because they're spawning all around you, or the spawns will flip and you will screw over the entire team by flipping the spawns, and now you have the A spawn, and it's just not good. That is not the kind of map that I want in Call of Duty. That is basic. There's no strategy. The smart player is not rewarded in that situation. That is the 3-lane map that I am trying to avoid. More Black Ops 1, more Call of Duty Ghost style 3-lane map, less of the Black Ops 2 3-lane map. Those are too stupid simple, and they do not encourage solo players as well. They do not encourage solo players. They encourage 3 people on each of the lanes, head glitching, and nobody's having fun. And now we get to the complex maps. Complex maps are like Ruins, are like Collision, are like Invasion. You know, they're pretty, I want to say, realistic. You know, Infinity Ward has these down. You know, in building the perfect Call of Duty, let Infinity Ward deal with the maps, because they have some of the best maps that I've ever played on in a Call of Duty. They have it down to a science. It's great how they do their complex maps. However, sometimes the initial problem with a complex map can be something like we have on Village, and this is what's going to lead me into this one. What is balanced in the map? What is balanced in a competitive standpoint or in a fun standpoint? Because when we look at Village in Modern Warfare 3, that is a great complex map. However, it is not at all balanced. When I say Village and I were to ask you, what domination flags should you hold in Village? Guarantee you guys would say C and B without a shadow of a doubt. You get C and B and you've basically won the game. Think about mission. What flags do you want on mission? Same thing, C and B. There is an obvious flag that you want to hold. Arcaden, a complex map. Is it balanced? Sort of, more so than Village and Mission, but you want to hold the A and B flag in Arcaden. These maps are complex, maybe Mission more or less, maybe more on the less side, but these maps are complex and unbalanced, but they're still fun to play. Are they competitive? Not so much. I would like to see a one-sided capture the flag on those maps because that's how they feel to me. They feel like once you have that C domination flag, you have basically won the game. You have, won the domination because they are unbalanced. There is a place for unbalanced maps in a competitive, maybe MLG style domination game. Not so much. I think there's a place for it because there is some strategy to it. However, I don't want it to be the mainstay of those complex maps. That's the trap of complex maps. You can get them unbalanced to a certain point where they're just not fun to play anymore. A change that has happened ever since Modern Warfare 2 and Black Ops 1 is the lack of the removal of power positions. If you are just into Call of Duty, if you were to go back to Modern Warfare 2 and Black Ops 1, you will notice that there are some places people love to camp. What? There's a lot of camping spots there? That's bad, we should take those out, which was the mentality of power positions when they were removed. However, power positions kind of gave you a goal, an objective, at least to me, of a place to go where people were definitely going to try and be. It created a hotspot. And hotspots are near essential for a Call of Duty map. If you don't have a hotspot, you don't have any strategy, you don't have anything. That's why people like playing domination over team deathmatch. There are 3 hotspots that people are going to be in order for them to get kills. The reason why people play Wasteland so much is because that there is one central hotspot. Yes, they can snipe, but they know they can SMG, shotgun, assault rifle, whatever, in the middle, in that middle hotspot. And that's something power positions kind of did. When playing Jungle in Black Ops 1, there wasn't so much of a hotspot as much as a camping spot, but I always tried to work my way towards that camping spot. Once I was there, I had done it, I had beat them, I had flipped the spawns, I have now achieved this Pride Rock position, and now I could look at B domination, I could capture it, and I can defend it from this very powerful position. Are power positions something that I want in my perfect Call of Duty? I don't know, to be honest with you. I haven't had as much time with them as I want to. I definitely like a little bit of a power position. I don't want it to be an overpowered position, but something where people are generally going to want to be is something that I want in my Call of Duty game. When you think about Hijacked, maybe up above in the second story is where people want to be, but maybe not, maybe a little bit more of a power position play in my perfect Call of Duty is what I'm asking for. Maybe I don't know what I want and I'm asking for trouble here, but it's one of those things that I feel a good variety of maps could have. And that leads me to cover. What is cover? I covered it a while ago in my How to Be Successful in Call of Duty series using cover, the different types of cover. So check out that video if you want my deep in detail thoughts about cover. But I want there to be a good amount of cover. In Black Ops 2, there was a good amount of head glitches. That's basically Treyarch's version of cover. Here's a head glitch, there's a head glitch, shoot out the person of the head glitch to get their head glitch, and then you can head glitch them. Yo dog, I heard you like head glitches, so we put a head glitch in you. I don't like that. When the head glitches are the only piece of cover I have, it makes for a boring and not interesting Call of Duty, and not a strategical Call of Duty at that point anyway, because the guy with the thermal M27 always wins in a head glitch compared to me using my submachine gun. I would like to see more clutter on the map, and I know clutter can get some people really angry. I don't like clutter on my map, I like clean maps. But when I say clutter, think about that one DLC map from Black Ops 2, the paintball arena. There was some about head tall pieces of cover, you know, like some crates on other different types of maps, some cars, not necessarily head glitches, but pieces of cover you can use in order to take cover away from gunfights. A really good, a really smart Call of Duty player will recognize where he's being shot from, recognize the nearest piece of cover, and take cover as quickly as he can. I have done this. You guys do it probably instinctually. You'll get shot and just duck into cover, and that is something that I cannot do when the only piece of cover is head glitches. On that same note, when there is too much cover, when there's too much clutter, you get a map like Free Fall, and you're like, what's going on? What's that? Is that a person? And it's just too messy. It's not good, so we want a good balance. I know, building the perfect Call of Duty. Don't do this, don't do this. Alright, there you go. But we want a good balance. I would say this is not a really big problem. The only time it's been a problem is in Black Ops 2, where there has been not a lot of cover. I would say in some maps, again, it's map to map, but it's hard to pinpoint. When you look at Fog, there's not a lot of cover on that map. You know, you don't think about head glitching on Fog, except for maybe like one or two places. There's not a lot of cover on the map. There's some rocks here and there, but other than that, not a lot of cover. And for that reason alone, I'm not the biggest fan of that map. I don't like that map because there's no cover, you know, very exposed, very open, and that's not the competitive advantage that I want in my Call of Duty. And that is how I would build the perfect Call of Duty maps. I would have a mix of complex maps, of 3-lane maps with a large variety of lanes in all of those, so that we can encourage flanking and using cover, and smart players thinking on their feet in a gunfight, an engagement they don't necessarily want to be in. Now we get to the variety of maps. The variety of maps is really, really fun, because the way I explained it, I would probably not include Nuketown or Shipment or Showtime, and you're thinking, but Donuts, you kind of like those maps. Those are fun maps. I like those maps. That's why we need those maps in our perfect Call of Duty. We need those crazy, silly maps that are just so small that you know you're going to get a bad spawn off of, but you just got to take it in stride and you got to have fun with it. That's something I have preached when talking about Shipment and the Showtime remake. Also, as I said way back in the beginning of the video, I said we don't like maps that have really long lines of sight. Except when it's Wasteland, because Wasteland is really huge, and it is designed specifically for snipers. That is the point of the map, and I think that is why we like the map. It is the Nuketown of the long lines of sight, you could say. Another thing I put down here in the variety category is Modern Warfare 3 Aero Face-Off. Oh baby, did I forget all about this. These maps are so gorgeous. They are so good. I want to just splurge on Face-Off in a different video, but these are the maps that where spawns aren't necessarily going to be the best, but they need to be good. You know, Modern Warfare 3, when Face-Off first was released, there was about maybe 2 to 3 really key spawns that you had to know on each of the maps, and if you knew that, you knew where the enemy was going to spawn, you know where to set yourself up. Yeah, it was kind of smart in a sense, however, it left the player spawning at such a disadvantage that it wasn't fun anymore. I almost got a Moab because of it, and they fixed it, they patched it. The spawns are a little bit better. I went back and played it. They are a little bit better. I think they're playable, but that's another one of those maps that's just going to be so super small that you just got to take those bad spawns in stride and just keep pushing forward. And so I think that covers it for my building the perfect Call of Duty map video. I think the perfect Call of Duty map is, like I said before, complex, you can have the 3-lane, you can have the crazy kooky map in there, and I think that is going to be the best for Call of Duty, rewarding the smart player, the strategic player who knows where to position himself at what time. I think that's what I want in Call of Duty. What do you guys think about my list? What is your perfect Call of Duty map? What is your favorite Call of Duty map? Why is it your favorite Call of Duty map? What's your least favorite Call of Duty map? And why is it that? Leave a like if you did enjoy. Comment below, what is your idea for building the perfect Call of Duty? What dynamic do you want me to touch on? Until the next absolutely beautiful Call of Duty morning, I will catch up with you guys later. And as always, have a great day.
Don't let this happen.